Hi, everybody. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes. Welcome to the Cam and Sybil show, actually. It is our opportunity to talk and to converse, to socialize, and to inform and empower people. Hello, Cameron Riley. How are you today?
Doing pretty good. Monday, I was making like a couple hundred things of chili for like a food distribution in North Lawndale, and
Nice.
now Tuesday, uh, it's Tuesday. How are you holding up, Sybil?
I'm holding up. Nothing as big and as I guess philanthropic as you. I don't know what a ish load of chili looks like. How much?
Uh, I I think there was like 30 something pounds of ground beef. Um, there was a lot of onions, and shout out to
Did
the
you
onion.
cry?
I wasn't chopping onions.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, shout out to the onion chopping team. There was a lot of garlic, a lot of chili powder, and as a vegetarian, I haven't touched raw meat in quite some time, and
And so was that your job, was to cook the hamburger?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But
Oh my. How did
every
that go
Monday,
over?
my hands started to swell. I think from like touching the raw meat. It was really
Are you serious, or is that
no,
just
no, seriously. Yeah, yeah. My hands started to swell. I had to run them under hot water for a
wow.
while. Yeah, it was really something. But
Wow.
next week, we're doing tomato soup and grilled cheese. We're gonna give it away in the
Oh, yeah.
community
A good
for free.
old-fashioned comfort food too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so tell people about Lawndale, where that is and what area you're talking about in Chicago.
Oh, yeah. So for those of you who aren't familiar, North Lawndale is known as to Chicagoans, we call it out west.
Yeah.
When Martin Luther King came to march in Chicago, he lived in North Lawndale. Him, Coretta, all the people on the front line, they lived in North Lawndale for quite some time.
Mhm.
And one of his claims to one of his there was already active Black Panther chapters here. Back then, the Chicago gangs were actually like community organizations who were trying to unite and feed and protect people.
Mhm.
But Martin Luther King rallied everybody and started walking, and that's when he got hit in the head with a brick
Yeah.
in North Lawndale.
He also called Chicago the most racist city and segregated and racist
Yeah,
city, if I'm not mistaken, that he'd ever been to. And
yeah,
this
yeah.
is a man from
The Deep South,
Alabama,
right?
Georgia, you know.
Yeah, and then after King was murdered, um, the Chicagoans set fire to the west side, and it's been a slow recovery ever since then. Especially because there was a lot of manufacturing and a lot of good factory jobs over there. There was a Schwinn factory, Sears
Yeah,
Roebuck factory, but there is a sense of pride in the Lawndalians who stayed there even after the riots,
right.
who built their city back them, themselves because the city wasn't helping us out.
And that's an unfortunate truth for many neighborhoods around the country. And even though there are promises in political campaigns of rehabbing and
Mm,
regentrification and things like that, North Lawndale is one of those areas that has really done it pretty much on their own, right?
yes.
And so, but I mean, there's a lot of pride, and there should be, in what they have accomplished in that area, but it's still so lacking, and every political campaign, especially when you're talking about mayor or for the city council, like, oh, we're gonna come in and we're going to, this money that we're going to get from the government, or whatever money we have, it's going to go, to lift up your community, and people are like,
Right. Yeah.
sorry, yeah, we,
First
we
thing.
realize it's on us.
Yeah. First thing people do when you're walking around the West Side is they ask where you're from. They ask how long you've lived there because they want to know whether or not you've been there since the King riots happened.
Right.
Because that shows whether or not you turned your back on the community or not. And a lot of people fled
Or
the
what
West
your
Side to the
purpose
South
is
Side.
in coming there,
Exactly.
and what you're going to do, and are you working for the community, like you say, for the, or are you working for yourself to rehab and then to get the hell out of there.
Right. Yeah. So every Monday I volunteer
That's nice.
and make soup, and we give it out to people.
What's your favorite soup?
Oh man, the other day, my mom made she made like her own spin on Panera Bread's chicken like Thai chili soup.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it was really really
I
good.
love soup. I can, and I tell people this, I can eat soup every day of the year. It doesn't matter what the weather. I'm just a soup girl. All right, young Cameron. I will move on to what's going on in the news. I don't know
What's going on?
if you saw this, but one of the highest rated topics of the day is students across the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, walked out of class today to demand
Um,
justice for Amir Locke, the
mhm.
22-year-old black man killed during a police raid in Minneapolis last week. More than 1,000 students marched from one high school, Central High School, to the governor's residence in St. Paul to protest the police killing. The group was led by the nonprofit student organizing group MN Teen Activists, or Minnesota Teen
Okay.
Activists, had a list of demands at the rally, including a ban on all no-knock warrants and the resignation of the Minneapolis mayor, Jacob Fry, as well as the city's interim police chief, Amelia Huffman. You may have seen some of the news conferences and discussions by Jacob Fry, as well as the interim police chief, Huffman, and how disgusted city leaders and especially black folks are, how disgusted they are in the wake of the murder of Amir Locke. And so students by the hundreds, they said, walked across town into the governor's residence. They said over 1,000, several different high schools, dancing, chanting at the mayor's residence after marching from Central High School in the name of Amir Locke. They were chanting in front as they went from several different high schools. And one student, Nevaeh, which one of my favorite names, Nevaeh Wiley, says she wants adults to understand teenagers are old enough to understand what is happening around them. To see someone so close to our age, it's truly nerve-wracking and heartbreaking, and it makes you scared for your own future. And that's essentially, the conversations that I've heard from Amir's parents. He was a good kid, a nice, young, respectful young man. Had purchased a gun, had the license and everything because he was concerned about his own protection. Right?
Yeah.
He was a food delivery person as well as a ride share person, and they talking about he didn't want to end up like that. He didn't want to end up like he did.
Mhm.
And the other students are saying that today's teenagers have grown up with the nearly constant examples of young black people killed by police who
Yep.
do not value their lives, and
Yep.
hence the call for the resignation of the mayor, who was just reelected, as well as the interim police superintendent. And so they also called for namely, as they were calling out names, they also called for Mark Hanneman, the Minneapolis SWAT officer who shot and killed Amir during the raid, to be fired immediately. That has
Mhm.
been from the beginning. When this happened a week ago, almost a week ago, and they were saying that they wanted him fired. And I guess the state attorney general is still considering what charges to bring against him. So,
Mhm.
if any, and so let's keep our eyes on that particular situation. But just another heartbreaking situation where black parents are having to, now tell people about their child. And 22 years old, yeah, he was still their child, their boy, and telling what a great kid he was, and how, and asking the questions which will probably follow them the rest of their lives. How did this happen?
Yeah, I mean, I love seeing the young people organize with social media
Me too.
nowadays. You can drum up a couple thousand people, very, 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 very fast. And also, like as a person who did rideshare for a while, when I did Grubhub during the pandemic to get some extra income, um, my mom was concerned for my life because I was
Sure.
taking those night shifts, driving to the only places that are open, which are in dangerous neighborhoods. Luckily for me, the only thing that I had to fear was women invited me into their house after I delivered their
All
food.
right, young Cam.
I'm serious. Like I pulled up and I delivered this pizza, and this young woman stood at the door, and she was like, "Yep," and I was like, "Yep." She was like, "Yep, just me and my lonely pizza," and I was like,
And what was your response, Mr. Riley?
I said, "Ma'am, you have a good day," and
Did she tip you?
she did. She said I was
With
very kind
cash?
and very sweet. Yes, but I don't know.
Cameron, I think you're, for those who can't see it, I think he's blushing, ladies and
It
gentlemen.
was just it was like it was my first day on the job,
Oh,
and
wow. Welcome.
yeah, and I was like, okay, what kind of mess am I gonna have to deal with? And that was it. Like,
And
okay,
that happened on the regular, Cam?
it happened a couple times.
Okay. Okay. All right. Drink away, my friend. Um, This also is something that happened today, and this has to do with a white congressman's offensive behavior with the chair of the Congressional Black Caucus, Joyce Beatty, Congresswoman Joyce Beatty.
Uh-oh.
The Congresswoman of Ohio, said that Republican Hal Rogers of Kentucky poked her in the back and told her to kiss my ass after she asked him to put a mask on before stepping onto the U.S. Capitol building subway system.
Inappropriate.
This old man poked this black woman of equal stature. They're both congressional representatives. She chairs a congressional black caucus. Said in a series of tweets today, while heading to the House floor for votes, I respectfully asked my colleague at Rep. Hal Rogers to put on a mask while boarding the train. He then poked my back, demanding I get on the train. When I asked him not to touch me, he responded, "Kiss my ass."
In any
She
other
said,
place,
"This is the kind
he
of
would have knocked
disrespect
him
we have
out.
been fighting for years, indicative of the larger issue we have with GOP members flaunting health and safety mandates designed to keep us and our staff safe." She said, Hal Rogers, when you're ready to grow up and apologize for your behavior, you know where to find me.
On these
He
streets.
did. He did
Oh,
apologize.
okay.
He's reported to several of the news sites that my words were not acceptable. He apologized to the Congresswoman on the House floor, and in a statement said he expressed his regret to her first and foremost. And and he was prompted, Cameron, to do this because members of the Congressional Black Caucus gathered on the House steps to condemn him for assaulting her, and they demanded a public apology. And so they got their apology. Congressman Hakeem Jeffries of New York, love him, echoed saying he needs to apologize, man up, apologize immediately before this escalates to a place he does not want this to go. Well, he
Oh,
did. So masks are not mandated on the Capitol subway system, but a number of GOP lawmakers have been fined for refusing to wear masks in Congress, and those fines are automatically docked from their paychecks. I don't know what will happen as a result of his behavior, not only not wearing the mask, but his offensive touching this woman and his language.
I would hope to see some sort of disciplinary action, but I think we're at a stage where our government is actually trying to figure out what exactly to do in these types of situations, and they've just become so rampant. A lot of the GOP members, threatening violent harm on
Mm-hmm.
others, hypersexualizing others in sequestered areas of the internet. It and not to mention, jabbing someone with your finger, like that's legitimate, like
It's like
assault.
that's pushing her, and she said poking her, but that's akin to pushing her, and
Yeah,
why?
and it just points to the inherent, disgusting patriarchal bias that this person harbors. That statement didn't mean anything from him. He would do it again to any other black woman
Yeah.
anywhere.
Oh, and trust and believe that that was not the first time he said it, and likely will not be the last time this Kentucky
Absolutely.
congressman says it to a woman of color. and by the same token, they really like to pick on the congressional representatives of color. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez,
Yeah.
is another example of that, and the way is they have treated her, the things they have said, both to her face on social media and what have you. So
Yeah,
um,
I guess I'm having a hard time thinking besides like absolutely like resigning or like forcibly resigning some. I mean, vacation, or a suspension is what a lot of these folks are actually looking for.
mhm.
And time without pay really doesn't mean anything to like a lot of the politicians that have been in there for a while. Really doesn't mean anything to them. So I'm trying to think of like what kind of punishments could there possibly be other
Right.
than forcing them to like pass on a vote or something, maybe. But
Well, like they did with Marjorie Taylor Greene, they removed her from her committees
mhm.
before she even got started because she was just such a disruptive force. Um, I don't know that they could do that to him, and they feel as though they are above the law. There's nothing you can do. There's
Yeah,
nothing, you can't touch me, or can't touch this, but you can't.
yeah, maybe some
That's
more
the way
fines or
that they
something.
feel superior, as for generations. And but you know what? We can't talk about this because it might make people feel bad, and by the things that not only they have done, but certainly no one can tell his grandchildren this because they might feel bad about the way things
Right.
are.
Yeah, it may make his grandchildren feel guilty, and we wouldn't want that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We have not talked about suspension since this happened, but your thoughts on the Whoopi Goldberg suspension by ABC?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So obviously, like Whoopi said something that was misinterpreted.
Hmm.
Um, it's a talk show, and so there should be open discourse, and she should have had the chance right then and there to speak her piece and apologize for it if she felt that that was necessary, and then just move on. I, but but besides that, I wish that we took this suspension as seriously as we took Bill Murray dropping the N word on his show,
Okay.
or or anything else for that matter. Like when Bill Murray dropped the N word, he got the chance to bring Ice Cube on and
Hmm.
have millions and millions of viewers and profited off of it. It's just not fair. Like the racial bias there is so evident.
And the $100 million podcaster and all of that, $100 million podcaster, whose name I won't say,
Oh
and
my.
all that has resulted.
From
All he had
Fear
to do was
Factor to like renowned
apologize.
conspiracy theorist.
And that was it. And his bosses at Spotify, doubled down. Oh no, oh no, what he said was wrong, but he's apologized, and that's good enough for me. That's not the same when you are talking about race and religion as Whoopi was, and particularly one situation with ABC. And so she's into her first week, headed into her second week of suspension, I guess, and we'll see what happens when she comes back. A lot
Yeah.
of people are hoping that she won't. She'll just say kiss like the Kentucky congressman, kiss my, and walk away. But I don't think, from what I understand, I don't think she's going to do that.
Yeah, I didn't watch the segment, but I really hope that her her white co-host would have done better to facilitate that conversation and protect her, knowing that she's not an anti-Semite,
Right.
knowing that she's not racist, that she has a different perspective on this. There's still people out here who say the Civil War isn't about slavery, even though
Yeah,
even though
right.
it was.
It was about commerce. No,
It was
no,
about Southern rights to
no. It
own
was,
slaves.
and we're still going through that.
Right? Come on
Just look
now.
at the Supreme Court. So you tell me, what that looks like to you. So thank you for your thoughts on that. We had not talked about it, and so I've just been having conversations with people about this, and going from there. All right, so let's look at what's really going on, and that is our question of the day, Khameron. And um, it doesn't apply to you specifically unless you
Okay.
want it to, but it is a pretty general question for everyone, and I would like for everyone's input on this. Valentine's Day is Monday, February 14th. Many people are planning to start the celebration over the weekend. So, Khameron, or all of you who are listening and watching, have you started making plans for your sweetheart or sweetheart wannabe? Maybe you're working up to something. Whether you have a sweetie or not, how would you like to? How would you like to be celebrated? Or what are the plans that you are working on for your sweetheart? So share your wildest or mildest Valentine's dreams. Like that? Huh? Huh?
Yeah. That was nice.
So let me ask you, let's go
All
back
right.
a little bit. Have you, besides your mother and your sisters,
Mm.
and I'm sure you're very generous with them,
Uh,
have you had had memorable Valentine's Day with the women in your life?
uh, I gotta be specific about dates here because people be clocking me
Okay. Okay.
on this show. I haven't had a Valentine in 3 years now.
Okay.
So it's been Single Awareness Day for me for several a few years. The oh man, I know Valentine's Day typically is considered like the onus is on the man to do
Yeah.
something. Um,
But have
I-
you been the benefactor of Valentine's Day gifts?
I've had some pretty decent Sweetest Day gifts in my life.
Sweetest Day. Okay.
Yeah,
So Sweetest Day is in October.
right.
And is it only it seems like it's mostly a Midwest thing. I don't know why. Like in Chicago, it was a big deal for Sweetest Day. You move to another part of the country, you're like,
Right, what's a
what is Sweetest Day?
yeah
So you have received some nice sweetest. Can you share
yeah.
with us what those are?
I've got some pretty stable articles of clothing that I still wear. Um,
Nothing like a big red shirt with a heart in the middle of it or anything like that, huh?
no. Just like a really nice piece of clothes that I still wear to this day. I've got a pretty nice pair of shoes that I still wear to this day. And then of course, fantastical rendezvous upon spring at bed in silken sheet.
Oh,
Things
nice.
of that nature. Nothing too crazy. Yeah.
So I will tell you that I have been the recipient of like nice weekends away,
Weekend
um,
getaways. Cool.
and the couple massages. Although it ended up that, especially with this one guy, he wasn't big on massages, so it was just
That
me,
is so great. I'm
and
good.
he was, very nice about provide. Actually, I got two massages that weekend because he didn't want to participate,
Oh,
so I got the second massage.
nice.
So things like that. But I'm just really curious. Are people celebrating, especially as many of us are still, not going out and doing things the way that we used to? I know last year was a big difference. Joylyn Wright, are you celebrate? Is she making a comment about your Single Awareness Day on Facebook, Cam?
I think so.
Okay.
It is Single Awareness Day. Just needs to be known. There are people out there uh, who are taking Valentine's Day as a means for self care,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I see you. I see you.
So, Joy, what does that look like for you? If you'll chime back in and tell us on Facebook, what does that look like? Lynn Powell says on Facebook, she says she is her own sweetheart and she's going shopping for herself. Oh, cool. Okay. And so, does
Go
that
ahead,
mean?
man.
So, how big of a bank are you using to spring for yourself? Um, and Cameron, you said you got a pair of shoes as a gift.
Hmm.
Do you don't ascribe to that old wives' tale that you buy a person a pair of shoes and they walk out of your life?
Oh, no, I've never heard that. I do ascribe to the notion that like some gifts from toxic partners become soul ties that
Hmm.
that make them like a revolving door in your life. So I had to get rid of some gifts, but these are a nice pair of running shoes. I will keep them.
Okay, but did you run out of her life?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I have a thing where if the people are like, and I'm like a fish, and I'm just like, floop, you know,
Hmm.
it's hard. It's hard. We talk about this, and I also get bored real quick too. I
Yeah.
get really bored.
And you'll find that person that'll keep your attention for a while. Rosemary Smith on YouTube says, "I wish we made plans for Black History Month like we do for Valentine's Day.
Right
We
on,
start
Sister
early,
Rosemary.
lots of planning, trying to be unique and all that." You're right, Rosemary. You're right, absolutely. So our next question will be on at your suggestion, Rosemary. We'll ask folks what are they doing to make Black History Month a great day. But thank you so much for pointing that out, because it gives me an opportunity to say in our What You Need to Know newsletter, we do observe
Oh,
Black history
geez.
every day. But during Black History Month, I hope that you will take a look at the featured stories that we have for this, for especially as we're talking about young people who are making history as we have in this first week of February. Denise Cuffey on Facebook says, "Gonna miss the pops giving me Rose's card and a scratch off." Oh,
I love it.
oh, bless your heart. Oh, I hope somebody will come in and fill that for you and give you the roses, the card, and most especially that scratch
That
off.
scratch off, man. You
I'm
never
not
know.
mad at that.
You might be getting
Not
$40.
Joylyn Wright is back with us on Facebook. She says, "I received flowers in person from the guy I was dating after he worked two jobs. I always appreciated that. That's
Working
nice."
man.
Yeah,
There we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Never underestimate a bouquet of flowers for all the men out there. Never underestimate it.
Well, you know what? You sound like my former boss, because Valentine's Day was Tom Joyner's favorite holiday. I think.
Really?
I think one of his marriages, he got married on Valentine's Day. But at any rate, he loved to give flowers to all the women in the office. Uh, every woman that worked for Reach Media received a dozen flowers or bouquet of flowers on Valentine's Day. And he loved the fact, especially women who had husbands or boyfriends at home, he loved for them to take them home and kind of rub it in the guy's noses. It's like, okay, Tom, that makes you happy. Um, Lori Miller on Facebook says, "I'm doing dinner at the house for the hubby. Crowded restaurants, not."
Okay.
So,
What you cooking,
so
Lori? What's on
I
the
wonder what's
what's
on
on the
the
menu?
menu for them,
Yeah,
Cameron.
yeah.
Cameron, do you have? And I always ask guys who cook, do you have a can't miss meal? Do you have a meal that once she gets a taste of the food, it's like, well, it looks like I'm gonna have to stay.
Yeah, yeah. I used to have one of those like knock you right out kind. Um, not in like the
Not
cosmic
like
sense.
the Spanish fly kind of
Right.
knockout, but
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
no. I used to be like a really big like smothered pork chops and potatoes
Ooh,
type,
ooh,
with like a side of thick bacon and eggs, and
my God, that will knock you out.
oh yeah, just knock you right out,
The
man.
itis comes quickly, doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you do you make it a short dinner so that you can at least get something in before the itis hits, or
Yeah,
what?
that's one of those kind of plates where you eat a little bit of it,
Mhm.
partition it off, work off a little bit, and then finish the rest off.
Finish after.
Yeah,
After.
right.
John Henderson on YouTube says, "Taking my wife on a Valentine's cruise Saturday." Shut up, John. Okay, you win, John Henderson. Plus the Super Bowl. Does that mean you're coming home to watch the Super Bowl, or you're going to the Super
Right,
Bowl?
yeah, I was like, "John, we need some context. Is the cruise
Wow. If
going
that,
to the
you
Super
know
Bowl?"
what? But just the Valentine's cruise. Wow.
Yeah, that sounds really romantic,
Nice.
but also like a haven for swingers. But, uh, that's sounds great. Sounds like a
Well, John, I hope the weather is conducive. Michelle Lynn Summerall, right. Yeah, by the sound of, and she says on Facebook, by I guess she's saying by the sound of your meal, Cameron, you're making people too full for anything else. So
Nah,
that's what
yeah,
I thought. But as you said, it's just take a little bit
a
off and
little bit.
get whet her appetite, as it were, and WHET, and then go from there. Sonia Maples on YouTube said, I've requested wings and a nice bottle of wine. He told me he has purchased the wine.
You gotta
And
be careful with that. Yeah,
hopefully the wings will be on the day of.
I'm just hoping that he knows his wines and that he knows what it is that you like, because men will just grab something off the shelf that's on sale real quick.
And you know what? I think that we are very, very verbal these days in terms of wines, because and it's not just something sweet, or a sweet red, or whatever.
Mhm.
I think that women who really like their wines know specifically. Okay, and we've become accustomed to this too. Here's the store you need to go to. Here's the aisle. Look in the middle, and there it is. And the bottle looks a lot like this.
Oh, I thought you were talking about someone who's saying, "Oh, I like a cedar cask, medium tannins, light herbaceous."
There are some who can do that, and the guys in response, unless they are at that level, they're like, look, you just give me the name.
Why I like to keep a bartender friend or two
Hmm.
just to put me on game.
And that was a nice reference there too. Reggie Barnes on Facebook says, I just sit and listen to Keith Sweat and the Sweat Hotel with a drink by myself.
There you go, Reggie. There you go. I
No,
was trying to encourage Reggie for no.
no.
All right, Reggie. Well, we gotta find your
I,
little booth on.
I'm not sure. I want Reggie just sitting with a drink by himself, listening to the Sweater. I'm not sure about that.
All right, Reggie. What's all right? You get to go on there. Oh,
Tyrone Bourne says, I would like someone to say to me, I love you, and not laugh afterwards. He says that on Facebook. Ooh. Okay. You know what, guys? I'm glad that you are sharing what you would like, and I appreciate that. And I hope that
yeah. The men are
women
being a
are
little
taking.
vulnerable
I
today, Sybil.
can't imagine though somebody saying I love you.
Wait, that's not the point. Yeah, I don't imagine it either.
But you just did.
But it's yeah, that I mean, unless it's like I don't know, like not even my grandma would do that to me. So Reggie, you need to tell us about this person who did this to you, and you need to heal from that, my brother.
Yeah, there needs to be some healing, because the
Absolutely.
next time, that
All
person
right,
said,
that was
or
Tyrone. My bad. Reggie was Keith
yeah,
Sweat. Right.
but between the two of them, Reggie and Tyrone, with a drink, listening to Keith Sweat, and
Yeah, it makes my Valentine's Day seem a whole lot better by comparison.
yeah.
All right.
I know a lot of friends of mine celebrate by going to the All-Star NBA All-Star game. It's usually Valentine's Day weekend, right?
All
And
right. Yes.
so or the before or after Valentine's Day, but it's always around that, and they make their plans accordingly. And even in cold cities like Chicago, when they have hosted the All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game, um, they come correct. They
Hmm.
come correct. So
I can tell you
I'm
like the worst Valentine's Day that I had.
what?
I was in high school.
Oh,
I was dating this girl named Shay. She was from Baltimore, and she had like a Baltimore accent. She was a track star. Nice lady, but kind of a sociopath.
no.
So,
Oh my, and you gave
uh,
her name. Okay.
yeah, I mean, I have no idea where she is now,
Oh,
but
you might soon.
um, right now she's suing me for libel. But I bought her a gift, and she's like, "Oh yeah, thanks." Like she acted like she really enjoyed it. At the end of the school day, I saw the gift in the trash, and I was like,
Oh,
"Bro."
Cameron.
So I was more so concerned about like what had happened to it.
Right.
So I asked the janitor, and back at school, like I was super cool with all the janitors and the security guards, and the janitor was like, "Yeah, bro, I saw it give it to this other dude," and he was like, "What the hell is this?" And he threw that thing away, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Oh
I
my
felt
God.
so bad.
So, did that scar you for a while? Or were
Um,
you able to just kind of release it?
yeah, that one I could kind of release because I was like, oh, okay. I mean, you know, yeah, all right. But
Wow.
yeah, that was I felt like that one came right out of a romantic tragedy.
Oh gosh. Well, you know what? I hope that you're able to use that in your in your work.
Like turn your
And
pain to
craft
profit.
something around this for your next screenplay or stage play.
Soon, yes. The neural pathways are already opening. The new ideas are
All
coming.
right. Well, thanks everybody for participating. I do hope that maybe we've given people some ideas on have how to have a great one or suggestions. And for those who shared with us, I'm sorry, but I hope that it gets better for you.
Single
But
awareness. Yeah.
maybe just sitting in a drink and listening to Keith Sweat, maybe that's all you want to do. So, however you spend it, I hope that you're happy. All right, let's move to the What You Need to Know newsletter, Cameron. It's
Ooh,
time for us to talk about our Monday through Friday newsletter. If people would like to subscribe, and we hope that they do, we'll do it because it's absolutely free, and we would appreciate your subscriptions. Please send us your name and your email address to sybilwilkes.com and give us that. That's all you got to do. You don't have to fill out birth date or anything like that if you don't want to, and we will give you an opportunity to join us every day in the newsletter as it arrives in your email box first thing Monday through Friday morning. As I mentioned, Cameron, you are up first, and you are talking about the censures uh, that the Republican National Committee, the censures of Cheney and Kinzinger, those are the two Republicans who sit on the January 6th committee investigating what happened in the insurrection. Liz Cheney is running for reelection, and she is getting a hard way to go. And she's the only congresswoman, only congressperson in the state of Wyoming. And Adam Kinzinger, who has a very promising future, a young Republican out of Illinois, is not running for
yeah,
reelection.
he said he's done.
He's done. Yeah.
That was so funny about it. But for those of you who are wondering what a censure is and why we should care, imagine you're a fledgling teenager and you decide to buck against your parents one last time. You had too much fun, and Daddy took the G-bird away, so to speak. Um, uh, and this is what a censure is. It's when the GOP decides to cut you off. They're not going to pay for your lawsuits anymore. President Trump. They're not going to give you any campaign money. They're not going to sponsor you anymore for anything. And the GOP decided to censor Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger because they were kind of like the bipartisan folk who were supposed to sit on this January 6th committee and investigate whether or not Trump knew about anything or whether or not anybody acted in any sort of malpractice before the actual date or
Hmm.
uh, what have you. Uh, on a more nuanced note, all is not well in GOP paradise.
Right.
When it comes to the vote, they are absolutely united. They will stonewall and block anything and everything. But it is evident that the RNC has chosen its racehorse for the presidential run, and they know that any amount of Trumpism gets votes and it drums up supporters. So that's who so that's who they're betting on. And if you want that, and if you want those campaign donations, the RNC has received so much money.
Yeah.
If you want a piece of that, you better get in line, or they will cut you off. That
Yeah.
is
Straighten
what they
up
are
and
doing.
fly right,
Yep.
or however right that is with the Republicans. Right.
Yeah, and so Liz Cheney from Wyoming is running again, but the RNC said, you know what, we're tired of you. We're going to run somebody against you, and good
Hmm.
luck raising all that money by yourself because you
Which
might
she's
lose.
doing, which I
Yeah, I'm
love.
saying, like, I don't think Liz Cheney has anything to fear. The sensible, knowledgeable American voter, I'm praying, is can see all of the BS underneath all this. Adam Kinzinger, on the other hand, was like, yeah, I'm done. please.
Yeah, he just got married. He's having or had a baby recently. She did, his wife, and I dare say he could have his choice of any number of positions in Illinois. He started a PAC, a super PAC, I believe, and so his future is very bright. And I don't doubt that Liz Cheney. Because her dad was former Vice President Dick Cheney, very, very in with the Bushes and that other half of the Republican Party, as well as the fact that although they are not saying it, there are a number of high-ranking Republicans like Mitch McConnell who are not going along with the RNC censure and saying that it's pretty ridiculous, right?
Yeah, and like Mitt Romney spoke out ag- against it, obviously, but the RNC will come after Mitt Romney because people like him too much.
Right.
They're really only coming after people who they think won't have a leg to stand on. But I think they bit off more than they can chew with coming after Liz Cheney, though.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see not only what happens with whatever effect the censure has on her, certainly not on Kinzinger, but it's going to be interesting to see how people actually vote in the November midterm elections, because here's the thing, they have made so many cuts and efforts to suppress the vote, taking out the ballot collection boxes, the times that you can vote, what types of identification you
Redrawing all
have
the
to have.
districts. Yeah.
There, and it's not just as an effort to stop people of color from voting. White people are going to be affected by this.
Yep.
There's a 95-year-old World War II veteran who has had to figure out a way to make his vote count in Texas, because he has never missed an election, and now they are questioning his voter registration.
Oh my God.
A 95-year-old veteran of World War II.
Wow.
Never missed a vote. So they got the records,
Right.
and they're questioning his voter registration. And his poor daughter has had to get in it and help him out. And he's obviously in his right mind. He's capable. He understands what's happening. And they're making it so. And he's not the only one that's affected by this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the media will like to have us believe that the Republicans are all united and stuff, but no, there's some infighting over there too, just as much as it is in the Democratic Party. Sure, yeah. I mean, with the progressives versus the moderates versus the whoever, and it seems again that if you aren't willing to do what the Great Orange Klansman says you do, then they will cut you off, man. They will pull your funding, or they will run someone against you. But I'm pretty sure, unless they spend a lot of money, I'm pretty sure that Liz Cheney will win.
I think so, and I think people are going to get in the ballot box or get in behind the curtain or wherever they stand, in the box itself, the voting box, and they're going to say, yeah, no, let's vote for her, and I think that would be great. Akin to Lisa Murkowski, who has never been a real favorite of mainstream Republicans, but she won as an independent, as a write-in. As a senator in Alaska. So, she's going to be like Murkowski in that respect. And so we'll see what happens as running not with the backing of the RNC, the Republican National Committee. Yeah. Khameron, this is awesome news regarding coronavirus. And everybody talks about how Black folks have not gotten how we have gotten the short stick in our treatment for coronavirus. Early on, Black folks believed that it wasn't going to affect us the way it affected other people. Then, in terms of being tested and treated and all of these things and having it affect our preconceived or pre-existing conditions and what have you. And so it's always been, oh, we're not coming out on the strong end of this, but we are in one respect. In our coronavirus story today, Black medical school enrollment is on the rise
Oh,
as a
great.
result of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Young Black people are recognizing the necessity and need for physicians, for medical personnel, and in order to, they have recognized this as a result of the pandemic. And according to a report by the American Association of Medical Colleges, Black medical student enrollment has increased by over 20% in the past year due to the pandemic.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
think about this. African Americans account for just 5% of the entire physician population nationally,
Wow.
while making up about 14% of the general US population. But now, with a 21% increase, what this can mean, it's very exciting to me. And if there is ever a benefit, a golden coin to come out of this, it is the fact that young people of color, young Black people, are getting into, are applying to, and getting involved in the medical field as a result of this.
Yeah. You know how I feel about representation. You know, we need more of us anywhere and everywhere. And that's a good statistic because overall this year, enrollment in higher education has gone down. But it's nice to see that in a much needed profession, we have seen an increase among black people.
Yeah.
And I really want to see
This
us
is
come out of there too.
this is really exciting, and I think that whatever can be done, by your families or by the schools, by other doctors who are in the already, Black doctors who are already in the business. I know there are some really great mentors out there, but whatever we can do to keep you going, and in your journey to become a doctor. Or great nurse, or whatever it is that you want to do in the medical profession, and keep adding to those numbers, so that that 5% grows and grows and grows, commensurate to what we represent in the general population.
Yeah, yeah. I know a lot of people going into midwifery now, like
Hmm.
doulas and things of that nature. Um, so yeah, we are needed everywhere, and so glad that folks took this time in the pandemic to, shoot for the moon and pursue their education dreams.
One of the interesting things I'm finding, in our effort to check in and check up our program that we're doing on a regular basis here at What You Need to Know, is that the network of really great Black physicians is strong.
Hmm.
It's really strong, but and this shows that it's going to get even stronger, obviously, with these young people going to school. But it's really encouraging, and you don't think in terms of, just like last week, we had a neurologist on, and you just don't think about the neurologist and the things that they, and Black folks' involvement in particular areas of medicine, but they're out there and they are representing and they're doing great jobs, and we love having them. And so, just want to keep that out in the forefront, and keep that going.
Yeah, Black women are making waves in tech, in AI, as well as in medicine, in law. So,
Yeah.
y'all found some the brothers didn't because we are.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. I remember doing an interview with the dean of Meharry Medical School, Meharry Medical College, and she told the people, look to your right and look to your left. Now, normally, the dean will tell you one of the three of you is not going to be here at the end.
Yeah. Yep.
This woman said, look to your right, look to your left, and you may be looking at your marital partner.
Oh,
She
yeah.
was encouraging, those relationships, at the school, in order to develop a partnership in life, as well as to develop a great physicians.
Yeah.
which I thought was brilliant on her part and kind of cool as a little matchmaker there.
Yeah,
Before we end up here, I also want to talk about a young Black woman who has made history. And I don't. You're a man of the arts. Are you familiar with Riverdance?
yes.
Okay, so I know very few people who are familiar with Riverdance, but you always see the ads for it on television, and it's the Irish form of dancing, right?
Mm.
Well, this young woman is now in our article on what you need to know is the first Black female Riverdance dancer,
Yeah, I read that. I was like, word?
and her
Okay.
name her name is Morgan Bullock, and she is the first Black female, let me say that again, first Black female Riverdance dancer, and joining the Irish dance troupe as it kicks off the 25th anniversary North American tour this year. Good
Oh
for
yeah,
you, Morgan.
yeah. I know a friend of mine who does Irish river dance, and it's not only is it hard footwork wise, but very hard on the toes and on the calves. So
Yeah,
more
well,
to get you up
she looks like
podiatry.
she's really done well with this. And do you
Yeah.
know how she got started?
No, how?
TikTok. She
Oh,
was doing the Irish dances to people like Megan the Stallion songs, and
oh, cool,
that was her audition tape.
nice. Oh, that's super cool.
It's very cool, very cool. Who says social media? No, maybe just me. All right, so let's. So once again, thanks for participating in the What You Need to Know newsletter, SybilWilkes.com if you'd like to subscribe, and it is free. Let's move to entertainment. The Oscar nominations have come out, and
Oh,
don't want to go through all of this, but I will tell you there are very few highlights for people of color. Remember when we had Oscar So White? Well, it's not all white, but it's pretty darn close. Four Black actors earned acting nominations this year. Denzel Washington for the tragedy of Macbeth, which a lot of people really liked and thought that this was going to be a major film for the Academy Awards nominations. Will Smith, who was absolutely brilliant in King Richard, playing the father of Venus and Serena Williams. Ariana DeBose was nominated for Best Supporting Actress in West Side Story, which was a bit long, but I enjoyed it. And this is my favorite. Anjanou Ellis won for Best Supporting Actress. And you may remember her as Venus and Serena's mom in King Richard. So Oracene, I believe is her name. She played their mother, and she was positive. I'm a big Anjanou Ellis fan, so I'm really glad about this. Had you seen King Richard or any or perhaps Macbeth or West Side Story?
I've been meaning to watch Macbeth because I saw Lawrence Fishburne in Othello,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of those guys are actually huge fans of the classics. So I've been meaning to watch that. I did not watch King Richard yet. I've been meaning to get around to that one too.
I had a really interesting experience in watching King Richard because we watched it Thanksgiving night and with a group of children, young people 14 on down. And it was interesting how they responded to it and the conversations that were engendered as a result of it. I highly recommend it. And I think that Venus and Serena, as executive producers, bringing this story to the screen and all of that. Um, one of my I can't recommend it highly enough, King Richard, if you get a chance to watch it.
I certainly will. Certainly
One of
will.
the movies I was surprised didn't get anything, but surprised and yet not surprised. I thought Jennifer Hudson might get nominated for
Oh.
her interpretation of Aretha Franklin in Respect.
Mm, mm,
No, she was one of those who was snubbed. As far Lady
mm.
Gaga did not get a nomination, and Leonardo DiCaprio, another one without a nomination, and Ben Affleck. They thought that he would get nominated for at least two movies. Nothing for him. But the biggest surprise for me was Jennifer Hudson because people really raved about her performance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought Cynthia Erivo did a brilliant job, but they are up against each other for the Emmys because due to their uh, not the Emmys, the Screen
Uh,
Actors Guild, I believe.
mhm.
So and I thought that The Harder They Fall, the Black Western, would get something.
I'm not
But
surprised.
they did not.
Yeah.
Not even Jay-Z.
For
He was a producer
yeah.
and also was a part of the soundtrack, but not enough for them to get a Best Original Song nomination. But Beyonce was nominated for her original King Richard song, and so Be Alive, making her first Academy Award nomination. So we wish her well.
Yeah, like Don't Look Up got nominated for Best Picture, and that movie was bad. And The Harder They Fall didn't get nominated.
No,
Yeah.
no, but Jane Campion is a woman who she's the reason why we should have more black films because she makes the whitest films ever,
Hmm.
and she has the now I can't remember the song, remember the movie, but right now she's being lauded because she's been nominated again. She's a woman who gave us The Piano years and years ago, but I swear these are the whitest movies I've ever seen in my life, and I thought that The Harder They Fall was maybe going to be that balance to a year like that, but no,
Guess
nothing for
not.
them. So,
Wow.
which is
Well,
I think is a shame.
that doesn't mean stop making them. Producers out there,
Right.
just you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're trying, but still, it's still the old white man's game as far as the Oscar, the Academy Award grouping of people who make the nominations and vote.
Mm-hmm.
As many people of color as they have brought in, it's still the game that
Who's
is run
hosting?
by.
Trevor Noah.
He probably, yeah,
Okay.
maybe.
I think I thought we said it was Trevor Noah. No.
I don't. He's the Grammys,
Oh, he's the Grammys. Okay.
hosting the Grammys. I don't know that they have made. I haven't heard. I haven't heard if they have named a host of the Academy
Yeah,
Awards.
they haven't named a host yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So keep googling
Yeah,
and
trying to.
All right, let's wrap this up, Khameron, and I want you to hear today's Yogi's Jewel, everyone. Remember to be outstanding. You have to stand out. Embrace different. Embrace the different. I like the different. So be outstanding, stand out, embrace being different. All right, everybody. Thanks, Khameron. It's been fun as always. Love having conversations with you.
Thank you.
And you keep up the great work.
Thanks. All right, Tuesday crowd.
Yeah.